Thank you so much for coming. This is awesome to see as many new faces in this space. Before I go any further, I'm just kind of curious, who hasn't been here before? Wow, a lot of people. We're going to do a very quick go around as well, because part of what the Deanery does is really trying to connect people to each other, and we're all bringing special skills and interests to this space.
We've been developing gardens and things like that at the house, and so with produce coming out of the gardens, I want to be able to put it to more use in the household.
We came here to start a homestead, and then just recently I started a homeschool group, and I hope to pass on all my information and knowledge to them.
I love to bake. I've never made sourdough bread. I make kombucha and got 2 pots or 2 things on the brew right now. But I love mead, but I've never made it. And so that's and the cider. That's what I'm here
for. We primarily sell at the Muscatava Harbor Market, but then also do some local deliveries. We're gonna be baking sourdough sort of step by step, but we're gonna be zigzagging through the steps just because of the logistics. I actually mixed up the recipe that is on this sheet, which is mostly white flour, a little bit of rye, and then salt. It's really just those ingredients. The starter is water and flour, and then there's water. Those are your ingredients. Normally, I would do the water and the starter together first, just to make sure that, because this is your yeast, right? So you want to make sure that that'll mix up really nice. This is good. It's nice and cold, so it'll come off in one piece. When it's warmer, it's more sticky. But my hands are also a little wet because I just washed them. If things get a little sticky or you anticipate they will, just wet your hands. It's nice to keep a dish full of water, and then you just slightly, it's like having a little bit of oil, like the dough is not going to stick to your hand. If you have less yeast than you anticipated, then it just takes longer. It does nothing, it's not going to fail. I'll talk about the starter briefly. This was fed yesterday. I used I try to not store a ton of starter. Every time you feed it, you feed 1 part of the starter. A standard feeding would be 1 starter, one part starter, 1 part water, 1 part flour. And the flour could be any combination that you would like. If you want to bake and you want to have fresh starter, and it's good to have really ripe, perfect at its peak starter, you can mess around with the timing. Roughly speaking, if you're at 23 degrees Celsius, then it will take about, probably 26 degrees Celsius. It would take about 4 to 5 hours at a 1:1:1 ratio if your starter is good. If your starter's been sitting in the fridge for a couple weeks, you might actually do a feed to wake it up, and then you have a good starter that then you can bake with next. It can be a lot of planning.
How long can you keep starter in your fridge? I have starter in my fridge in a mason jar for a good 5 months.
So you could throw it away if you want to, or you could just take a small bit of that and then feed it to that really lean amount that I just talked about, and then the good yeasts will develop. And so you could do that a couple times. It's probably going to be fine. If it was in the back of your fridge and maybe it's moldy, that gets a little sketchier. But even that, you could probably just take a tiny bit and it'll inoculate your flour. It's pretty forgiving. Dehydrated is awesome. I think I rehydrated one that was maybe 3 or 4 months old. It's probably good to go. I'll just add a little bit of water and feed it. It also will keep at room temperature. That's how I've kept dehydrated starter in the past. For the purposes of today, I just spread a bunch thinly on a couple lids, had it in the fridge. Once it was dry, I just flaked it off. And then I actually put it in my proofer, which is at 90 degrees, just to make sure there was no humidity at all. That's what I brought today. I thought that'd be the easiest way of getting starter to everyone, then you guys can rehydrate it and feed it. So I'm just going to dissolve the starter into the water right now. This is white rice flour. We'll use this for dusting. It doesn't have gluten, and so it's great to use, right? It won't absorb and change really the composition of your flour too much. This is a lamb for scoring. I use this for dusting the flour. And then I brought 3 different scrapers because we're each going to do some pre-shaping. This is good. This is like a wet spatula. It's really fantastic for getting stuff out of bowls. This, I just use the flat side. This is too rigid for me, but it is possible if you find the right angle. So yeah, this will demonstrate how to use. This I like to use. I have like untreated wood at home, so it's fine. This I don't think I want to use it because this is like a different treatment, and I don't want to like scrape this off. So we'll use plastic. All right, so we're just gonna add this to the flour. I'll show you, these ones are like not quite ready for division, but this is the right time to show you it. So what you can do to ascertain if it is ready to go or not, bubbles, it'll be like loose on top. This is still quite firm on top. We want it to be a little bit more domed than this. We want it to be more jiggly. This is actually, now that it's open, it's getting like a little lighter. A good temperature for fermenting would be in the like 28-degree range. Usually I'm proofing at 90 degrees. Don't go higher than that, actually. I've gone, so I'm going to start mixing this, by the way. I've gone higher than that, and I was baking the dough a little bit. It was, yeah, it wasn't good. A lot of us live in like old breezy houses that have sometimes alternate, sometimes, yeah, interesting heating. I have found that a great way, before I had my proofing oven, I would put it in a cooler. I was using a fermentation belt and putting it in there. That is a slight fire hazard. I never had that problem, but it is possible. So honestly, if you want to be super safe, just like a glass or a pot of boiling water in that cooler will keep it nice. If you have like a thermometer for cooking, I would just put that in there, or you could put it in the dough, in fact. I guess if it's a cooking thermometer. If you have like an ambient thermometer, then yeah, you can measure the inside of that container. All right, so we have this lightly mixed up. If we wanted to autolyze, which my recipe does reference, autolyzing is a nice way of building up your gluten without a lot of elbow grease. It's basically just mixing the water with the flour until it's like shaggy. This is a shaggy dough. Then you would just let it sit for like anywhere between an hour, 2 hours. By doing that, you'll just end up with like a window pane, which is when you pull a small amount of dough, you can see the light through it. As you can see, this is tearing. We do not have that formed yet. So that's what corporately we will do if anyone wants to do a little stretching and, well, a little kneading actually. Because if you don't autolyze, you're looking at a timeline of about 15 minutes of kneading to get like really high quality gluten development. Look, this is a great way of kneading. You like roll it forward, pull it back. Another more fun way, once your dough is like a bit together, a slap and fold. But this isn't really sticking, so it might not work. Pretend it's stuck. And then you like flop it over, get a little air in there. And then you can do that. It's just not going to stick. That's why like lots of bakers want to use like untreated butcher block kind of countertop. It takes away some of the work, like it does the work for you because it will stick. This one, you're stuck, no pun intended, with trying to make it stick, which isn't really working, which is fine though. So we don't get to do the fun way of stretching, but if anyone wants to try a little kneading, this is your opportunity. So yeah, you can try that one if you want.
Palm, okay.
And then you just keep on like folding it over. Yeah, you're doing great. Another way is like you can just like kind of roll it back and forth too. You can get into a rhythm. This dough is not very sticky.
Okay.
So you have like lots of different options. Well, mine are only wet because I didn't dry them, but I don't mind, look, throughout the whole process, I don't mind introducing a little extra hydration to it. It's not a bad thing at all. We will now, oh, this is great. Oh, it's warm a bit too. You guys had warm hands, that's good. So it is fermenting right now. I like to keep it in a ball. This is kind of like pizza style. But then it will, the benefit is it's like you're adding some tension right now, so it's doing a slow stretch as it goes. This is like ultimately like a 30-hour process. So these ones I would have mixed yesterday. Usually after you do the pre-shape, which we are going to do, you would put them into a banneton. I'll take this ugly one that I squished. You're just turning it out, just a little dusting. I'm going to do a basic one. So it's quick, light movement. So I'll usually get the first one, and you can see it tugs a little bit. So you just have your finger close by just to stabilize it. And then like a couple. So that's pretty deep. That'll be good. I'll do some really light scores as well. The bread is going to rise regardless of what we do. This allows it to have a controlled rise that looks nice. Little dusting. Excellent. Yes, that's great. Wonderful, wonderful. Hey, that was good. Those are good confident strokes.
Oh, good.
All right, next. Good. That finished well. It started a little apprehensive, but that's fine. Let's see if it.
I was less
Yeah, no, you cut it.
confident at
Yeah,
the
exactly.
beginning.
I know it's like such a small workspace to like learn. Oh, yeah, nice.
all right,
Good
guys,
job.
next time.
Good job. All right. Well, fingers crossed. So this should mostly, if it was more developed, it would come out a little bit smoother. Still going to make a beautiful bread. This is a little gooey. So if it's really sticky, then you wet this and you wet your hand. But as you can see, I've masterfully got a beautiful ball. So as you can see, this is called pre-shaping. Pre-shaping helps to get a good shape for your dough. As it relaxes like this, it'll get flatter. Once it's like flat, you know it's ready to do your actual shaping. You dust it so that it doesn't stick. If you do this too early, if it's not relaxed, you're probably going to tear it. And it's just not going to make a nice dough. I mean, you go through all this work, you want it to at least be pretty. All right, so I try to make it like nice and flat and workable. I'm showing you a shaping method for more of a bâtard, a more like rectangular shape. To do like a boule, if you want to do a round one, then you would shape it like that and like that. And then the new corners, you'd shape it again. And then you'd do what we did, like you'd kind of like close the seam. And then you'd have like a nice tight ball. So what we're doing now is we're going to try to create tension. That will hold it in place. It'll allow for better oven spring down the line when we put it in the oven. All right, so I'll take the first two corners, stretch a little bit, fold it over. Again. All right, so I've got a rectangle. Now it's sticking a little bit. Might be the counter, might be that the dough was like a little less developed than I would have liked. It's not the end of the world. All right, so now we're going to roll it up. So you use the tension, pull back a little bit, roll, pull back, roll. It's stuck a little bit, as you can see. Won't be like perfect. All right, and then you can pinch the end. There you go. If you look, if I just poke on it, the indent comes back real quick. Once it's ready to be either baked or put in the fridge, it'll hold that hole a little bit longer. This side is floured, so it's not going to stick. So you're just going to like kind of stretch it out like that, just a little bit. Perfect. And that's good. You don't have to like over bake it. That's great. And now with corners in. Very nice. All right, perfect. And then, yeah, and then just tug back and then push down. There you go. Nice. We're building surface tension. So we're kind of rolling it up so it'll hold its own shape. Awesome. All right, so then, yeah, and then just like tuck those ends in a little bit. All right, good. So it's a little, so you can see it's already a little flatter than mine. It's just like over time, you'll just learn to like get that tension a little more, but it's totally, it's gonna be fine. So yeah, go ahead and like pop some of that in. And then I would, so you like do that into your hand and then down.
Okay. And the seam is facing up?
Oh yeah, so this is the seam. Yes, that's the seam there. Yeah, just quickly do it. It's just gonna stick to you. No, seam up. Good. All right, so as you can see, this is a little flatter. So if you didn't build really good tension, I'll give a little demo here. You kind of like stitch it up. And then look, now it's like holding this shape a little more. Perfect. And then flour side down. Perfect. Awesome. Then just stretch it out a little bit. There you go. Oh yeah, thanks. Good. That's perfect. Yep.
We don't want too flat.
No. And then, yeah, and then the corners, yep. Yep. So I would do, I think in the well, I think we've just been doing them too close to the edge, and so it's like making it tapered. So just like, anyway, it's pretty good. Look, by the time the last person goes, yep.
We could go at the same time, can we?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, at this point. Here you go. Here you go. Thank you. Look at this. Got someone who knows how to scale. Oh yeah, look, see this was, you found some tension there. Look at that. Great job. Oh yeah, so try not to, you don't want to touch the top.
Okay.
So it's like, it's sort of like that. Just touching underneath. Yep, great. All right, yeah, whoever's next can go. This is looking good. Yes. Pardon me?
This is a,
We're making like a batard shape.
that's the batard. Okay.
Yeah, which is like basically, like, it can be a loaf pan, it can be free baked. Great. Okay, so you got your, wow.
Beautiful.
This is pretty gorgeous. So then if you want, you can like pinch the edges.
Obviously.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then seam side up. And depends how you're gonna bake. I should have asked you right now. You're gonna bake it like right in the pan?
Yeah.
Then then maybe, if you can, flip it seam side down.
Oh, that's what I was
My
thinking. I thought
apologies.
that was, yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Oh, wow, look at that. Right before it goes in the oven.
Right,
That's when you give it like the little score. "15 to 20 minutes steam or covered, and then like 20 or so minutes uncovered, and that's when you get browning. If you steam it the whole time, it'll get like really rubbery.
Okay.
You also don't have to, cover. Look at that, that's gorgeous, eh?
Do we have to put them on something?
This one's nice. Oh yeah, we could see, let's see. These are probably good. Let's give it a little knock. I don't usually bake this size, so I think these are great.
I've never been to the Deanery before, but I thought the presentations were rather interactive and very informative, and it was a great opportunity for people to develop skills they might not have had a chance to before.
I have been a nature and outdoor educator for over 20 years, and I've been to the Deanery many times, and by far this has been the best workshop I've ever been to. Every instructor has said that they're brand new at instructing, but were able to deliver information in a way that was accessible for anyone that falls under the neurodivergent scale of learning. So there was hands-on, there was notes, there was lots of questions, there was opportunities to take your own notes and to take your own photos so that you really built your confidence through these instructors before you leave. And there was even samples to take home. I've never been to a workshop that was as well pulled together with just energy and positiveness and just the desire to share knowledge as this one. So super grateful for today.